Good evening. Mohammed is the most popular baby name in Britain for the second year in a row. I'd like to congratulate Mohammed on doing the double. It's back-to-back victory for Mohammed. There's been a 23% rise in the number of little baby Mohammeds in the last year. The name Keir, by the way, has died out. So the name Keir has completely died out. I can't help but note there's some kind of tragic irony there, as Sir Keir Starmer's Labour Party appears to have entirely lost the Muslim vote. But there's a moving graph here that illustrates the rise of Mohammed. So I think we can have a look at this now. So if we start in 1996, we've got a lot of Jacks, a lot of Joshuas, Thomas, Samuel's doing pretty well. Jack starts pulling away as we enter the 2000s. He's way out on top, actually, as we hurtle towards 2008. Watch out, Jack! Watch out, though, because in comes Oliver. Look at him go. Look at him go. Oliver and Harry, they're duking it out. But look at what happens when we get to around 2016. So something interesting. Oh, there we go. In steams Mohammed. And there's no stopping him. Up, up, up he goes. Mohammed's on the march. He's biffed Arthur. He's biffed George. He's biffed Oliver. There was only ever going to be one winner there. It's Mohammed. And look at him go. Up he goes, up, 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 up. And, well, he's managed to actually climb above. It's him and Noah. There's a biblical battle taking place here. And, yep, there he is, out on top. But he's not just won. He's won by a landslide. He's now out in front with 5,721 new babies. So there we are. But on a slightly more serious point, I do think that this speaks to a wider point about rapid demographic change in Britain. In Small Heath, Birmingham, 85.9% of the population identify as Muslim. Parts of Leicester, 75% Muslim. Parts of Bradford, like a place called Toller, there are 80% of people there who say they are Muslim. In the UK, Muslim women have a higher average number of children compared to non-Muslim women. So research by the Pew Research Centre reports that the fertility rate around UK Muslims is around 3. So you have 3, while non-Muslims is about 1.8. And in fact, for what it's worth, white mothers have just 1.44 babies in their lifetime, apparently. The Muslim population could be 5.6 million by 2030, and Muslims could make up 17.2% of the British population by 2050. And isn't it astonishing to think that in just 25 years' time, 17.2% of the British population could be Muslim? This will largely be due to immigration, obviously, both legal and illegal. But there's an interesting quote that emerges here if you Google AI about benefits data by religious groups in Britain. So this is what it tells you. I've taken this quote directly from Google AI. It says, data suggests that a higher proportion of Muslims and other religious groups are affected by poverty and receive income-related benefits. This is partly due to higher unemployment rates within the Muslim community and a greater likelihood of living in deprived areas. Now, look, this won't be the case for everyone, of course, but I can't help but wonder whether, if you're already in receipt of benefits and unemployed, then maybe you are less likely to stop and think about whether you can afford to have children before you do actually have them. Nobody can deny that there is a huge cultural change taking place in the UK, and it's going to continue. There are certain benefits to multiculturalism and to all of that, but not all cultural change is good. So Britain has more Sharia courts than any other Western country. A job advert for a Sharia law administrator was listed on the government's website. It's now been deleted. We've recently had debates in Parliament about cousin marriage, first cousin marriage. We have specialist inbreeding nurses to deal with the medical problems that can cause. We have specialist clinics now for female genital mutilation. Forced marriages are a problem, with many people being taken abroad to places like Pakistan to be wedded off, and sometimes to someone that they've never even met. Look, Muslims and multiculturalism can bring a lot to our society. Of course, the huge numbers of them work in our public services and all around the country. But like I said, not all cultural change is necessarily good, is it? The baby name list reveals a lot more about Britain than just baby names, doesn't it? And I have a feeling that Mohammed will probably top that list every year from now until the end of time.
Hello, I'm Bev Turner. Now, it can feel like the money in our bank accounts at the moment does not keep up with the cost of living. And maybe there's a solution. I'm here today with the CEO of TallyMoney, Cameron Parry. Cameron, what is TallyMoney?
Well, Bev, with TallyMoney, you get a current account and a debit card, but instead of pounds, you use milligrams of gold as your everyday money.
So why gold?
Gold traditionally is a great store of value. It has, on average, gone up at over 11% per annum for the last 25 years against the pound. It's tripled in value in the last decade. And in the last 2 years alone, it's increased by 50% against the pound. Banks' savings products just can't compete with that level of growth.
But this isn't just about gold. This is about a currency that you guys have created at TallyMoney. Explain it to me as though I'm an idiot.
So, look, people need to be able to hold their earnings and build their savings in a money that retains its value and remains in their legal control and remains theirs to access, away from government control.
Great. You had me at not exposed to government control.
You should feel safe and happy with your money. You should have peace of mind the more money you see in your bank balance, and that's the type of thing we're trying to deliver and give people choice in the type of money they get to use every day.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Cameron. Thank you.
Let's get thoughts of my panel. We have got former Tory MP Anna Firth. We've got Conservative peer Lord Bailey. And yes, good to see you, mate. We've got the former Labour Party advisor Matthew Larser. There we go. Anna, so what do you make of this baby name list and what it perhaps says about the trajectory of Britain?
Well, first up, Patrick, this is an anniversary for me because the first time I was on this show, we were talking about Mohammed being...
It was last year. He won it last year.
He won it last year.
No way.
So I've got a special interest in this. And you know, what really concerns me is the population growth and the amount of population growth in our country, which is now due to net migration. In the first 30 years of my life, the population of this country went from 55 million to 58. So it went up, but not by very much. The next period of 25 years, it has gone up by 3 times that, to 68, and it's now due, according to the ONS, to go up to 77 million. And that is all, 92% is going to be through net international migration because we are not having enough babies in this country. You know, more people are dying each year than births, and that is a real turnaround. So that is a real problem. We have got to be proud of our culture, and if we are going to have this level of international migration, which I think is way, way too high, success on, you know, this is the fault of both governments, not party politics. This is the fault of both governments. We have got to integrate people and stop.
Well, it's on that point, isn't it? It's on that point, Sean, that really is kind of what I'm getting at, which is, I suppose, my main fear, that if you're seeing this kind of rapid rate of the name Mohammed, that indicates certain things. And if we do talk regularly, as we do, about issues with integration and multiculturalism, that might mean that those problems might get worse.
It doesn't mean they might get worse. They will get worse. Look, here's the thing. It's a culture clash as well, isn't it? So we'll start to import politics because if you're Muslim, the politics of the Muslim world is far more important to you. And we'll start to import. We've seen it in Parliament, people talking about building airports in Pakistan and said just simply none of our business. We should concentrate on building airports here, for instance. You've seen the effect it's had on the Labour Party in places like Jess Phillips' seat. She's fighting Islamists effectively, not Labour, not Conservative or Lib Dems, whoever. She's fighting people who have a very particular identity around their Muslim culture, and that's what she's fighting. But there's another piece as well. A lot of the sort of liberal feelings we have about the universe, liberal beliefs, it's ironic because it's liberal people who won't challenge immigration, who then will be destroyed by what a largely very, very conservative Muslim population will believe. Things around women's rights, things around cousin marriage.
Gay rights.
And gay rights will be top of the list. That's the big one. But the other thing as well, the reason that these communities are poorer is because many of them are immigrants and they have a different life level acceptancy. So they'll come and be poor. We'll sponsor that poverty and we'll create social problems for them and us. At some point, somebody in this country has to look at the demand. So, for instance, we talk about housing. We always talk about housing supply. What about housing demand? We're going to have to do something about the level of demand.
OK. Matthew, quite a lot to come back to there, so I'll have at it. Go on.
Well, I mean, look, I can understand why it's a bit of a culture shock for people in what has traditionally been an overwhelmingly Christian country. Clearly, we have had a very significant social change. Anna is right. All parties have allowed mass migration, frankly, over 40 and 50 years. I would say that as a country, diversity is a strength, that we've benefited as a country from having people from around the world come here and make Britain their home. And what we are broadly talking about, we don't know that these are people because Mohammed is such a popular name within the Muslim community. It's a huge proportion of Muslim boys are called Mohammed, however, various spellings, but are called Mohammed compared
there's
to.
Actually I think there's 2 different variations of Mohammed in the top 20.
Yeah, well, but remember, what this does is it's no shock when you look at the census data, which shows that we were roughly 1 in 10 children born to a Muslim mother. Now, I think you can be chilled about Mohammed being top of the baby name chart. I'm not so chilled that Kia has apparently been completely wiped away.
There is another interesting little...
I think you can just to say, I think you can be chilled about the name by still thinking that we need to get a grip on immigration generally. I wouldn't necessarily...
There is another little snippet I'll just raise before I come to you, Anna, on this, which is apparently in that data, the name Yahya has gone up 33 places. The slight concern I have about that, of course, is that Yahya Sinwar was the head of Hamas for quite a while, and it appears that name has suddenly become a lot more popular, which
that is
might in itself tell a certain
That's
story.
more worrying than Mohammed coming top.
Yeah, I mean, that in itself might tell a certain story about certain things in Britain, but there's no way of knowing for sure, is there? Anna, so yes, go on. Are you concerned about what it says in terms of maybe the direction of travel? I thought Sean raised a good point about how if we have this rapid rate of an increase in the Muslim population in Britain, how that might end up dictating our foreign policy more.
Yeah, I mean, that is a concern. I mean, I think the biggest concern, and I think the thing that people are most concerned about is what is happening in their local communities. And I think Sean's right to say, there is pressure on schools, there is pressure on hospital places, pressure on GPs, and there's pressure on jobs. If we cannot continue to expand our population at this rate unless we are expanding the economy, and the economy is not growing, so we are not able to be building more hospitals, building more schools. So, we have absolutely got to get a grip on this. But you put your finger on it in your introduction when you talked about all the cultural differences, which are no part of our culture. We don't agree with cousin marriage. We don't agree with Sharia courts. There are all these things which are anathema to our culture. And if you come to this country, you should be living by our laws, by our culture.
What do we do about it? Because let's be really honest, right? So there'll be loads of people out here now, maybe, who would say that, well, maybe reading this much into the list of names with Mohammed at the top of it could be seen as a bit racist. They might say, Sean, that if we're talking about all this kind of this cultural issue there, that about what's in a name, for example, that could be seen as a bit racist. Do British people have a right to be concerned about it? I mean, as in British non-Muslims, I mean?
There's a few things to say. I'm fairly sure I'm not racist, and I'm concerned about these things and focused on them. The second thing as well, this is a purely mathematical game. It suggests a number of people, and it suggests a direction of travel. I'll illustrate it to you like this. 1.6 million people are receiving benefits in this country who are not British. Now, that means we are spending, I think, 1.6 billion, in pure cash terms on an annual basis. That's what we are spending. That we cannot sustain. And if we grow communities, Muslim or any other, and don't employ them, don't give them school places, that bill grows and it will sink the economy. We will never get growth in this country with our benefits bill being as large as it is. We have to look after the people here, no matter who they are, and that cannot be done if we don't take into account the families that we're bringing in.
Well, on that note, I think there's an interesting alternative view to this, which is that if people care so much about the fact that Mohammed is top of the list, he's done the double, and he's probably going to win every single year, I would have thought, after that, in the direction of travel, then people who aren't Muslim or don't like the name Mohammed could have more kids, couldn't they?
Yeah, I mean, if people are really worried about it, absolutely, they could go and procreate, and we could also pick on. And what I noticed is Noah is number 2. Nobody was called Noah when I was growing up.
I still don't really know a Noah. When everyone's going on about Noah's doing really well, I'm like, is it?
I know too. I know too. Can I just say, having more children is not the response. If we have more children, our population grows at a bigger rate. Can we afford it? It isn't just about.
But you're worrying about something there that I'm not sure everyone worries about, Sean, when they think about having kids. Affording them.
Yeah, well, we should. Yeah. This is the point. I really want to make the point. We should not encourage communities to grow into poverty. We should not import people and then support that poverty. We could only have as many people as we can successfully support. This isn't about Muslims. It isn't about Christians. It isn't about black and white. It's about people and caring for those people responsibly. Allowing uncontrolled immigration is against that in every single way.
OK, all right. Well, look, we're going to leave it there. I thought it was an interesting discussion anyway. Let us know if your views on it. Like I said, list of baby names, all right, it's a bit light-hearted maybe. I think it does indicate something about the direction of travel in Britain that maybe people would have a view about.